the Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living. Love lives here. So, welcome. Sanctuary of love, where love that truly does live here. And if you've been with us all month long, you know that we've been talking about the topic of rooted in the divine. That's what we've been using as the theme for the month, is rooted in the divine. And I've been using a passage from John 15, to explore this with you, explore these concepts and ideas with you this month. And so at the very beginning, we talked about, I am the vine and my Father, or God, or Spirit, is the gardener. And the gardener cuts off those branches that have died, that no longer serve, and casts them aside, and then also prunes those branches which do bear fruit so that they may bear fruit more richly. And so we talked about that, and we explored that. And moving into the second week, we talked about abiding in the one, right? That I am the vine and ye are the branches. Therefore, the Christ consciousness, the flow of Spirit is flowing through us, right? It is flowing through us. It's that Christ consciousness that is the center of our being. And it is that Christ consciousness, that individualized God consciousness within each one of us, that then bears fruit, that then takes form and bears fruit. And so we were talking about recognizing that consciousness as being the magnificence within each one of us and uncovering that magnificence of who we are. And we did that wonderful process in Johnson Hall that created this beautiful artwork that shows us what is being uncovered here at Riverside as our magnificence. And so you can see the artwork here on the wall if you didn't get a chance to see it last week. So here we have this. And then last week we talked about abiding in me and allowing me to abide in you, abiding in the Spirit, abiding in life, abiding in truth, and allowing truth to abide in you. And listening, really, really listening to what Spirit has to say in, through, and as you. And listening to who you are called to be and what you are called to do. And that being always precedes doing. That who we are then affects who we do, or then presents what we do, rather. Right? Not appropriate for that. What we do. Now I'm totally. So this morning, where we're moving down in the passage of John 15. Oh, thank you, sweet Spirit, for that light. So where we are moving down in the passage is, if we abide in the truth, if we abide in the Word and allow the Word to abide in us, then ask what you will, and it is given, and it is done. And if we choose not to abide in the Word, then we are like a branch that is cut off and withereth and dies. Right? So that's where we are in this. So this morning's topic is 100%. And people are like, 100%? What is 100%? What does that have to do with anything? It has to do with everything. Because 100% is the key to the kingdom. 100% is the way that you walk the path of palm-laden fronds and enter triumphantly into the city of Jerusalem, into heaven on earth. 100% is the way we do this. So what is 100%? Oh, you ready? Taking 100% responsibility for our own lives. Not 50%, not 98%, 100% responsibility for our own lives. I know, shoot. But it's, that's going to be hard. Nobody said it's easy, right? But taking 100% responsibility, because 100% responsibility is the key to transformation. It's the key to liberation. Taking 100% responsibility, because when you take 100% responsibility, you are moving whatever it is out from out here in here, and you are now standing in your power. You are now moving from a place of power rather than giving it away. See, because when we place blame or we place something outside of ourselves, the word place means to put something outside, to put away, to distance ourselves from something. But when we accept responsibility or we take responsibility, we're bringing it here. So when we take responsibility, we stand in a place of power, we empower ourselves. No longer do we allow ourselves to be at the effect of whatever is happening out here. Because we have to take 100% responsibility for our part in it. We have to take 100% responsibility for our role in creating that which we see. Now, we may have consciously created what we see, or we may have unconsciously created it. Because that's the way it works. We live in this world of conscious and unconscious belief, right, that run us. In this philosophy, we call it race consciousness. But then trying to explain that is like, it's the collective unconscious is what it is. It's the collective unconscious. It is it's flu season, so we all need to get our flu shot, right? That's collective unconscious. That is what Ernest Holmes referred to as race conscious. It's the culturation, it's the indoctrination, it is the piling on of ideas and thoughts that operate in society. Now, these could be ideas and thoughts that don't really serve us, or they could be ideas and thoughts that do. We all stop at a red light. Well, in theory, we all stop at a red light. Right? That's an agreement. That's an agreement. That is also what we would call the collective unconscious. So it exists both for good and other. But we have the opportunity to accept responsibility for our lives. Ernest Holmes says, the only thing that can deny God is you. So if we're looking at being part of the tree and the branches and the fruit, right, the only thing that can deny our good is ourselves. We get to take responsibility. So if we bring ourselves into alignment and remember the who of who we are is the divine made manifest, that who I am is the God essence that flows through me and as me, what I experience is then in alignment with that. I'm aligning with my good. But I have the opportunity, because we all have free will. We all have the freedom to choose. And we're invited to choose. The master teacher invited us to choose right there at the very top of it. He invites us to take responsibility. And so we have the ability to choose how we want to walk in the world. Whether we're going to live on the drama triangle and, don't we love drama? Woo, grab your popcorn and just, love some drama, right? Grab that popcorn and just chow down, watch it happen, watch it unfold. But we have the opportunity to get off what's called the drama triangle. The drama triangle has 3 points, obviously it's a triangle. The 3 points, or the trying nature, if you will, of the drama triangle, right, the holy trinity of drama, is the villain, the victim, and the hero. You need a villain, you need a victim, and you need a hero in order to be in the drama triangle. The drama triangle is exhausting, people. It is tiring, it is life-sucking, it is just It is so exhausting, that drama triangle. And so when we're living on the drama triangle, we've given away our power. We've totally given it away. Because, oh, well, he said this to me, and so now I feel this, and I blame him because now I feel this way. He made me feel this way. Right? So I'm playing the victim, but I'm also playing the villain because now I'm blaming. Right? Because the victim is like, for me, and the villain assigns blame. The villain assigns shame. And so then we need somebody, the knight in shining armor or whomever, to come in and rescue us. Right? So again, it's completely outside. Everything is happening to me. Even my salvation is happening to me. I need somebody outside of me to come and take care of me, to come and save me. You're living on the drama triangle. Let's eat some popcorn and watch it go. It's exhausting. And you're in complete bondage when we're in the drama triangle. You're completely living at the effect of something. And it could be your own personal life, or it could be the world around us. Isn't there a lot of drama triangle happening outside these four walls? Right? But guess what? If we take responsibility for our own thought, we take responsibility for our own lives, we take responsibility for how we choose to show up, we take responsibility then for our own personal transformation, our own personal liberation, because that's where it happens. It doesn't happen outside. Your personal transformation, your personal liberation is 100% your responsibility. Nobody can do it for you. Nor should they try. And now we're codependent. And we're still back in that drama triangle of being a hero. So if we look and we take back our responsibility, we take back our power. We no longer assign it to somebody or something outside of us. We stand in the face of it, and as Jesus said to Pilate, thou didst have no power over me unless it was given me of God. And so we nothinize whatever this is out here. We take back our power and we step into an empowered place of living. We move from a to-me consciousness, a to-me way of living, to a by-me way of living. And this is the first step on the stages of spiritual consciousness, or the kingdoms of consciousness, both words, the to, by, through, as. To me, by me, through me, as me. But it's the very first step on the path. The very first thing we have to do is take responsibility. And in that, begin the path of freedom. In that, begin the path of liberation. And so in order to do that, we have to practice. We have to practice our spiritual principles. We have to practice our spiritual tools. We have to practice being in the presence. We have to continue to bring ourselves back to the one. Practice taking responsibility for what we are seeing and what we are experiencing. We have to practice. A disciple, a student, has to have discipline. Disciple, discipline. So a root word, right? So if we are to be disciples of the Christ consciousness within, with the disciples of the inner wisdom that we each are, then it takes discipline. We get to practice. And in fact, it demands practice. So you practice it? Yes? Yes. For sure? Stop. All right. Remember, 100% or not, right? So one of the ways that we can practice, one of the ways that we can take responsibility for our own spiritual evolution, our own spiritual involvement, our own awakening, if you will, One of the ways that we can do that is by enrolling in classes. And so we have 2 classes coming up. Transformation doesn't happen with y'all sitting out here. I'm good, but hey. It's not up to me, right? We each have 100% responsibility for our own transformation and liberation. But transformation doesn't always just happen in rows. Transformation happens in circles. Transformation happens in community when we come together and we are present with each other. That's where real transformation happens. Who knows? You might meet the love of your life. I did. Who knows? You might have a complete change in the way you live. I did. Who knows? You might be willing to lay down that anger and that blame and that shame and step into a place of power, your own power, the divine within you. I did. Our classes transform. But you have to be willing to do them. You have to be willing to enroll. You have to be willing to participate. You have to be willing to participate in your own spiritual evolution. Nobody can do that for you. And so we have the 2 classes coming up. We have Meditations More Than You Think. That starts a week from tomorrow. And that's 8 weeks where you learn and you experience different meditative techniques where you experience communing with the One, communing with that divine within you, and exploring all kinds of different ways of doing it. To find the one that works for you in this moment. Because what I know is that certain types of meditation work for me when I'm doing certain things, and other types of meditation work for me when I'm doing other things. There is no one type of meditation that is always, I look at it as a toolbox. There's no one that always does it for me. Right? But we practice in times of comfort so that when times of challenge come, we are prepared. We practice in times of comfort so that when times of challenge comes, we are prepared. It's preparing the way so that we can stand rock solid. The other class that we're offering starting next week, or starting the week after on Sundays, is Prayers of Our Fathers. And I've been teasing this one because I wanted to see what their reaction was. But we're going to tell you a little bit more about it. Prayers of Our Fathers is a 4-week experiential class where we are going to look at 3 Christian prayers. We're going to look at the Lord's Prayer. We're going to look at the 23rd Psalm. We're also going to look at the prayer of St. Francis. And we're going to look at those from a metaphysical interpretation, and we're going to look at those also from a science of mind perspective, a religious science perspective, to gain a deeper understanding of the truth that is in those, and see how that a different relationship with those then can influence our own prayer practice, which is affirmative prayer. And week 4, we'll be talking more about affirmative prayer. I'm going to introduce you to a prayer, not tell you who wrote it, and you get to figure it out. But it is a fun and interactive class. Now, I've heard classes are expensive. So, is that your God self talking? Is that self that you know is rooted in the divine? Is that yourself that you know that God is your source? Or is that triangle talking? Where are we at? Are we on the triangle? Or are we rooted in the divine, rooted in spirit? See, because what I know is you know what? I'm teaching the class. I don't need your money. The center does not need your money for class. You need your money for a class. And what I mean by that is, if we were to say, oh, it's free, right? It's just free. We'll just do a love offering. Well, guess what? If something's free, then I have the opportunity to go, tonight, I'm feeling a little, I'd rather stay home and watch reruns of NCIS. But when you have money in the game, so to speak, when you have money riding on it, you're like, wait a minute. I paid money for my spiritual evolution. Maybe I have to go. Right? Because what it is you need your money. Because what it is that you are telling Spirit, hey, Spirit, God doesn't need your money, right? But you're telling Spirit, you're telling the Spirit within you, you're telling yourself, your higher self, you're telling yourself, you know what? I'm committed to my spiritual evolution. I'm committed to doing this. And let me show you by demonstrating that here I am. I'm all in here. And Spirit goes, woo, Francis, look at you. You said yes. Guess what, Francis? You're in class. You're learning. You're growing. And so it's a matter of just reframing how we think of these things. Because $149, or if you were to break up to $20 a week on a payment plan, we just reframe it. Right? Well, maybe this week I'll pack my lunch twice rather than going out to lunch twice. Maybe this week I won't go to Starbucks a few times. Maybe this week I won't go to dinner. Instead, I'm going to nourish my soul by being in class. I'm going to spiritually feed myself rather than going to eat at McGill's. Right? And then pooping it out tomorrow. Fish didn't hear that in the church. Didn't hear that, right? Amen, right? So, if you're gonna nourish yourself, how about you nourish yourself for life? Right? And maybe some of you are thinking, yeah, Reverend Jeffrey, that's all well and good. You're standing up there, and I'm here, and I have, this going on in my life, that's going on in my life. You know what? I'm not going to stand here and tell you something that I haven't lived through myself. Halfway through ministerial school, through a series of divine circumstances, that's what I can call it, because that's what I know that it to be. Through a series of divine circumstances, I found myself with $56 to my name. 56. That's it. I didn't know how we were going to pay the mortgage. I didn't know how we were going to eat. I did not know how the electric bill would get paid. I did not know how the dogs would have food. And I certainly did not know how I was going to register for the next term of classes. I didn't have the $40,000. When I started ministerial school, I didn't have the $40,000 for that master's degree. And I certainly didn't have it halfway through. And then I remembered. I asked myself, what is it that I believe? What is it that I'm committed to? Am I committed to my spiritual evolution? Am I committed to this path? Am I committed to knowing that God is my source? That God knows what I have need of and always provides? Or am I committed to the idea that I only have $56? Am I committed to that? And if I'm committed to that, then how is anything going to unfold? Because what we're experiencing is what we made a commitment about. And so I got real still and real quiet. I remembered that God, the life force, is my source. Not the fruit hanging on the tree. It's not the orange hanging on the tree. That comes and goes. but it is that internal source, that source of life, that source of love, that source of abundance, that source of wisdom that indwells me, that I'm aware of, that I abide in. That is my source and supply, not the 56 olives, not the fruit. But the Spirit within is my source. Got real clear and I said yes. That is the truth. And then, through a series of divine circumstances, I got a job the next week. Not even trying, it was offered. Got a job the next week. Had the money for school. Had the money for the mortgage. Had the money for the electricity. Had the money for the dogs. We were still eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, not gonna lie. But it was there. It flowed. It began to open. Because I said yes. You know what? I said yes. And where there is a willingness, there is a way. Where there is a willingness, there is a way. Not where there's a will, because I'm not trying to make things happen. Where there's a willingness, there's a way. So I invite you to consider this. I invite you to take 100% responsibility for your spiritual evolution. Because when you take 100% responsibility for your spiritual evolution, you are also allowing others to take 100% responsibility for their evolution. And their evolution. And so on and so on. Kind of like the Clairol commercial. You tell two friends and they tell two friends. Right? Yeah, I'm dating myself. Right? So that's what I invite you to consider. I invite you to consider taking 100% responsibility for your own spiritual evolution. And if you are a member of this center, and even if you are not a member but you are a friend of this center, I invite you to take 100% responsibility for the health and vitality of this community. And one way that you can do that is by being present, showing up and suiting up, I think is what one of the things that came out last week, showing up and suiting up, and come to the annual meeting today. Participate. Take responsibility for who we are as a community and who we are becoming as a community. Last week, when I invited you to go within, we did the be still and know, I invited you to go within and listen and see what it is that Spirit had to reveal through you in relationship to this community. So I asked you, who am I to be in service to this community? And what am I to do in service to this community? Because if it is to be, it is up to me. Right? So we need to take 100% responsibility for our beloved community. And when we take 100% responsibility for our beloved community, guess what? We're standing in power again. We're not riding the triangle. We get to stand in our power. And dispel any false ideas of lack or limitation, of fear. And so Ernest Holmes has this beautiful passage in here that I want to share with you about this. And again, this is from Living Science of Mind. He says, if you can put aside your fear, which is but an expression of your sense of isolation, if you can put aside all negation and turn to me alone, then you shall be made free. Be still and know that I am your true self. Be still and know that I am the life principle. Be still and know that I am the truth, dispelling all error. I am power, neutralizing all weakness. I am abundance, swallowing up all lack. I am your real self. And so when you came in today, you received a leaf, a stick, a leaf, what have you. What I invite you to do is and if you have a pen, and you don't have a pen, share it, and if you do have a pen, share it, is on the one side of the leaf, I invite you to write your name. On the one side of the leaf, I invite you to write your name. And on the other side of the leaf, I invite you to write who you are here to be in service to this community, as well as what is yours to do in service to this community. Because nothing happens in isolation. We've made a commitment to be here, together. Everybody have theirs? Right. So last week I asked you to contemplate, to go within and listen, right, for the guidance of Spirit. Who am I here to be in service to Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living? And then I asked you to again ask Spirit, what am I to do in service to Riverside Community Center for Spiritual Living? So for example, on my leaf, which is now down there, but still, on my leaf, I have on the front my name, and on the back, who am I here to be? A way shower. What am I here to do? To be an example. I'm here to demonstrate what is possible. That's what I'm here to do. In service to this community, I'm here to be a way shower and to demonstrate what is possible. Does that make sense? My beloved Ed, whom you met a couple weeks ago, also did a leaf for us. And so on his, it is, who am I here to be is the presence of love. What am I here to do? To support my husband as he supports this community. And so if we look at these, they could be branches that are cut off and wither and die. Right? Each one is a branch that you're holding. It's a branch out there that is currently unattached. But when we remember to take 100% responsibility for our lives, we step into our power. What we're also doing is we're taking 100% responsibility for our spiritual evolution. And in so doing, what we're saying is that we are willing to abide in the truth, willing to abide in the Word and allow the Word to abide in us. We are willing to make manifest heaven on earth. We are willing to walk triumphantly into the city. And so this is Palm Sunday. And so what I invite you to do is to come forward and place your branch back into the tree here, symbolizing your connection with Source, that God is your source, God is your supply. Symbolizing your commitment and connection to this community as well. And so we're going to, as the branches come back and recenter into Source, we will see the beautiful and the beauty that is our community. each made up of each individual, remembering who we are. Yes? And so we're going to do this. I'm going to invite you to come down the center aisle here. Oh, I have one more piece of that too. We're going to invite you to come down to the center aisle, and then as you return to your seats, go out. That way we don't, run into each other. And as a further symbol of your commitment, should you choose to, it's up to you. There's no pressure, honestly. If you want to take 100% responsibility and sign up for a class, there's the registration form here. You can also take one of those two here. There's absolutely no judgment. There is no blame and shame. If now is not the time for class, that's perfectly fine. If now is the time for class, I invite you to go ahead and take one of these as well when you place your relief. Okay? So, now if you give us some music and we'll just allow folks to come on up. Behold the tree of life. Tree of life. You have triumphantly entered the kingdom. You have said yes to your own divine spiritual evolution, and you have said yes to this community. Can I hear a yes?
Yes.
Love lives here.
Yes.
Truth lives here.
Yes.
We are magnificent.
Yes.
And so it is. If you did take a registration form, you can fill it out. You can see Casey in Metanoia Marketplace, and she'll be happy to take payment for you there. So I invite our practitioners to please stand and circle our beautiful sanctuary, and I invite our leadership council in the final configuration of this particular leadership council to please also stand and surround the sanctuary for us. As we enter into a moment of prayer. And so if you join me in consciousness as we just drop in, sitting with dignity, sitting with the divinity, sitting with the divine within, I recognize that there is only one life. And this life expresses in, through, and as all of creation, because in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And that which God did not create was never ever created. So what I know is that absolutely everything and everyone is a divine manifestation and impartation and expression of this one life. And we are each rooted in it and it in us. We live, move, breathe, and have our being as the divine, allowing the divine to flow easily and effortlessly through us as us, out into form, out into the world. That we are the branch, we are the fruit. That whatever so we ask, it is done unto us as we believe. And what I know is that we are a community rooted in the divine. We are a community of love. That love lives here. That truth abides here and we abide in it. And it expresses from a place of abundance and overflow. It gives endlessly and eternally and infinitely. There is no end to God. There is no limitation in God. And if there is no limitation in God, therefore there can be no limitation in me. There can be no limitation in any one of us here. And so I simply bring my awareness back into that, allowing myself to remind myself and to remember who and whose I am. That I am the divine. That God is my source and supply. And that source and supply is infinite. That I take a step forward and God takes 10,000 steps toward me. My willingness is my word. And I receive abundantly because I give from that divine source. I give service from that divine place. So I participate in my livelihood. I participate in my being. And I let fall away any ideas of lack, any ideas of limitation, any ideas of drama. I put down the popcorn. And I say yes to the divine nourishment of my life. I step into my power, the one power. And I give thanks for it. I give thanks for the truth revealed here today. I give thanks for the sacred yes of this community. And I simply release this word into the law, knowing that it is already done.